Not everything needs to taste like chicken for it to taste good. Hey y'all, welcome back to Not Quite Homesteading ASK Garden. Today I'm in the kitchen. I'm doing a quick video with y'all. I've been wanting to do this video for quite some time. Initially I was gonna do it for like creating my own seasoning blends from the garden, but one of the things I wanted to make seasoning out of, my plants didn't actually pop up for it, so I ended up with the wrong plants or wrong seeds, and ultimately I could not make the seasoning blend. But I did have another idea that I wanted to share with you guys. It is something that I've made before, and I think if you are a fan of this boxed rice brand, you might appreciate this if you wanted to ever make this at home for yourself. So what I'm going to be doing today, it is the Spice It Up challenge. I believe this was hosted by Renee over at Renee's Gardening, and I will link her channel down below in the description box. I wanted to go ahead and participate in this, but I've just kind of been a little slow to recording the video. So this is going to be quick and easy, and you'll be surprised at how easy it actually is, despite all of the listed ingredients that you'll find on a rice-a-roni box. Now, I'm not taking anything away from rice-a-roni. It is a product that I grew up on as a child, and I didn't really like it as much as a kid, but I do eat it like in my adult years. Probably not as much as I once did, because you know, I do try to stay away as much as possible from prepared foods or processed foods, but in a pinch I definitely will turn to it, and I have no issues with rice-a-roni. So I'm gonna give you guys a pan of the ingredients that we're gonna be using. There are some additional ingredients. I didn't pull them out for the video because they're kind of like cold ingredients, things that you can add at the time of cooking, and obviously the rice and vermicelli measurement. So I will leave that linked down in the description box for y'all. But let's go ahead and jump into this, because you're not gonna believe how easy it is. And if you wanna give it a try, let me know and tag me if you like make a video or anything on it, and let me know what your thoughts are about the flavoring. I've tasted it, I've made it several times. To me, it is spot on. It really didn't take me that long to figure out the blend, but it is delicious, and I guess if I really wanted to, I'd never have to buy another box of rice-a-roni again. All right, so I have the seasonings here. I actually have the recipe here. This book is sacred, and this is where I kind of keep a lot of the things that I create. I don't let anybody look at those books except my husband, and yeah, so that's the secret sauce right there. But we're gonna start. So the first thing I'm gonna obviously add is salt. I'm using kosher salt for this. You can use you know, fine table salt. My only suggestion to you would be to cut the salt proportion in half. I'm going in with 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. And then we're gonna add granulated onion and granulated garlic. Now, key thing to note here. Granulated onion, granulated garlic is not the same as garlic powder or onion powder, despite the fact that we use the names interchangeably. If you have garlic powder or onion powder on hand, you are going to have a much more intense flavor if you use these same proportions. So my suggestion to you would be to cut them in half. If you're someone now that just likes garlicky or oniony stuff, you know, maybe play around with it a little bit, maybe add an extra like 1/8 of a teaspoon or 1/4 of a teaspoon, but I would not use it at a 1-for-1 ratio for granulated garlic or onion. So the granulated onion, I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of this, and then for the garlic, I'm actually going to use 1/2 teaspoon. So this is one of those like rare seasoning occasions where you kind of use more onion than garlic. I know there aren't a lot of recipes that call for more onion, granulated onion or onion powder than garlic, but this is one of them. usually if I'm cooking, and this is a seasoning tip for y'all, most recipes I find are better balanced when you're using onion, like granulated onion, at half the ratio that you would use granulated garlic, unless it's a recipe that calls for equal parts, where it's like you don't want one overpowering the other. But that's a seasoning tip. So if you're new to like trying to season food, or you know, like cooking of any kind, if you want to ensure that your dish is balanced, granulated onion is really strong. So you always want to use that at about half ratio to granulated garlic. So I have some turmeric here, as well as some celery seed, and then I'm going to be using a 1/4 teaspoon of the turmeric. The turmeric has great health benefits, y'all, so having it in anything is only going to be beneficial to you. But the thing that the turmeric really does here is help with the coloring of the rice-a-roni. So a 1/4 teaspoon is all you need. And then I don't have an 1/8 teaspoon measuring in this particular set, so I'm just going to use that same 1/4 teaspoon, and I'm going to do about half. Now celery seed is really strong, so I would not suggest using a lot of it in anything unless you are a really big celery fan. So this is umami seasoning. I'm going to be throwing this into the blend. Now I like this seasoning, and I get this from Trader Joe's. It does have some other like blended stuff in it, but it's really not a lot of like additional seasoning. There might be a little bit of extra salt. Looks like they put some chili flakes in here, but it's so few that you won't even know they're in the seasoning. And then, you know, potentially some like thyme or something. But you can literally use mushroom powder. If you want to use mushroom salt, you can do that. If you have some other mushroom like all-purpose seasoning blend, definitely use that. Or you can use mushroom broth or base to add to this. But this is a necessary component because you really need that background, like meaty umami like flavor in this. And this and one of the other ingredients that I'm going to show you in just a second actually really contribute to that. And then the last thing I'm going to add is parsley. Now, I don't know if you guys notice, this seems to be like kind of a big thing in rice-a-roni blends. There's always some like dried parsley of some sort in there. So I'm adding about a teaspoon, and I'm only adding a teaspoon in this one because these are pretty big. I would even go ahead and like blend those down just a little bit more so that they're a little bit finer and not really getting in the way when you're like, you know, trying to take your food. But that is really the basis of the dry seasoning blend. So all I'm going to do is mix this up. And I'm telling y'all, you would be surprised at how spot on this really is. Like, yes, these are seasonings that we typically use like in the kitchen, of course, but it's really the ratios that change the flavors of certain dishes. And when I tell you, outside of the freshness of the flavor, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between mine and the one from the store. So the last few things that I would add to this, vegetable base, chicken base, and then Worcestershire sauce. The Worcestershire is the other ingredient that's going to give you that background meatiness, but this is also going to help with the coloring that you're used to seeing on rice-a-roni. So this is important. I would add this at half a teaspoon. You don't need a lot of it. Really, it's for the coloring mostly, but it does add a little bit of background flavor. And then the bases, I actually use 1.5 teaspoons of chicken base, and then I use half a teaspoon of vegetable base. Now, you can use all chicken base if you choose to. I personally feel vegetable base tends to add something a little bit different, a little bit a little bit more savory than chicken base does. Chicken base to me can really take over the flavor of dishes if you are not careful. And I'm not a person that wants everything to taste like chicken. Now I know that Rice-A-Roni's dishes, their boxed rices, they tend to be heavy on like chicken flavor. So that's fine for this recipe. But if you're someone that, you know, loves to add like bases to your dishes, I wouldn't sleep on vegetable base, because not everything needs to taste like chicken for it to taste good. So that's really the blend, y'all. Obviously you have to add things like butter and oil to the mixture. The rice and vermicelli mixture, I'm gonna leave that ratio down in the description. The measurements that I'm giving you, this is good for about 1 box of Rice-A-Roni. So I really hit the nail on, I think, the rice vermicelli mixture to get basically the same amount of portions that you would get out of a regular box of Rice-A-Roni, which is roughly about 2.5 to 3, depending on the size of the portions that you actually eat. But if you wanted to double, triple, make a big thing of this, all you have to do is put this in you know, a measurement calculator up to the amount that you want to do, multiply it by 8, multiply it by 16, get the proper ratios for it. But this is basically what that seasoning blend looks like. And I'm telling you, even though you cannot see that turmeric is really going to help turn that rice that yellow color. So if you guys enjoyed this particular tutorial, let me know down in the comments below. Let me know if you're someone that eats Rice-A-Roni, if you even heard of it, maybe you never heard of it. If this is a seasoning blend that you would try, and if you are a fan of kind of recreating like popular supermarket brand seasonings in your own kitchen. I appreciate y'all for watching, joining me in the kitchen. As always, don't forget to visit our affiliate links down in the description box. Let's keep learning, sewing, and growing together, friends. Until our next garden update. Bye.